Ladies and gentlemen, big hairy news.
Hey, kia ora koutou e te whānau. Welcome back to another edition of Big Hairy News. Kia ora, Chewie.
And a kia ora, Pat.
Hey, yeah, doing good. I had a look. Did I send it to you at the very first episode we did? Not that long ago. I found it online and I sent it through because our very first episode was, I think, in 2020, because you and me did some of those trials first, and we look really different. And the reason I was bringing it up is I was just looking at a pretty funny meme I'm going to show you shortly, but I just had the first thought, maybe this has been around for a while, because it's a meme of me, and in the background there's nothing on the wall of my studio, so maybe this has been out for a while and I've just never seen it before. But there you go. How are you, Mel? What's going on?
Oh, not a lot. It's been a really interesting day of news, which is good when I'm co-host of a news commentary show.
Yeah.
So yeah, outside of that, yeah, everything's good. All is well.
A bunch of stuff to talk about tonight, whānau, including a couple of shorties along the way. Yo, shorty. I'll do one shortly, which is, I'm not saying this to invite trolls, but I've been doing this for long enough that if trolls haven't yet realized you can't really get through the thick skin, you're never going to. Like, what a fat cunt. Yep. I have more proportion of fat on my body than most people. Correct. Now what? Now, what about the argument we put forward? Your beard's stinky. Yep, sure. Okay. Now what? It's so funny. Like, it's actually adorable that people think that they can kind of take you down a peg or two by doing that kind of stuff. I mean, not to, as I say, genuinely not looking to welcome more trolls on, but dude, when I was working at News Talk ZB, I had a person turn up to my doorstep of my house. You know, it's like, I've played this game with the big boys. The Twitterverse is not the real world. It's pretty difficult. I'm not saying, as I said very clearly, I'm not inviting more attacks, but it's just so ridiculous. It's just so ridiculous. And look, so what's happened today? Sorry, you go.
I was just going to say, and on my side of things, I'm just happy to be included.
I got a message from someone today, and someone has created a meme of me, and it is the fucking funniest thing in the world. I'll show it to you. So remember, this is to take the piss. This is to take me down a peg or two. There's the it's
somebody's worked out how to use an AI filter.
Oh, wait, you ready? Here we go. It's fucking great. I mean, honestly, I love it. It is so good. So this is this guy, and like, I love it so much. You can see that's on Kiwi Lithium's page. Oh, look, and let me just say something. I might show you something here that you might not like, because I don't get offended, but what often happens is I don't get offended on behalf of other people as well. So I'm going to show you something he did with Chloe and Marama, and some of you might be like, oh, don't put them down, but it's very good. Like, so that's his site. I like it so much. I already downloaded it, so I've got it for myself in case it was to disappear. I apologize about the camera. I've had like 4 meetings today, and I'm a bit worried the camera's going to play fuck around and find out all night like this. So yeah, it's not so good. So look, I'll just
annoying.
So have a look at this. This is the same dude, right? So this is Marama and Chloe when they had their presser about Benjamin Dore. Look what they're wearing, right? The chickadee chackadee thing, and the pink top and the grey underneath. And this is what he did. It's just clever. It's
Is
just
it
clever.
though? It's
Yeah.
just someone's put something in a fucking Muppet AI filter. Like, this isn't clever.
Well, it's not clever. Like, it's not clever satire because it doesn't do anything. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't. It's not actually effective. I think it's adorable. I'll show you one more he did, and it's of Jacinda and Clark. I mean, that's not a piss take. That's Jacinda Ardern if she was a puppet. It's kind of adorable. You know?
I'm just focusing on the AI aspects of it. Like, these guys can just put a photo into an AI and it'll spit that out, and they go, "Look at me, I do a create."
Whatever. I think it's cool. I'm not going to touch my camera, just so you know. If it's going to do this or not, I might even just turn it off. Because what the unfortunate thing is, I can't turn my other camera on and use that because this camera is now attached to this mic. And if I put the other camera on and turn this off, my mic won't work. Because unfortunately, that's how StreamYard goes. So I'll just leave this for a while. You get to see the whole wide shot. So when I talk about the 50-inch screen up beside me, it'll come back on at some stage. Oh, you know what? Chewie, look, I was gonna have that's that screen there I always talk about there. There. This is the screen I always talk about. Why don't you just do some chats? I will just turn the camera off once and put it back on. I can see if we can fix this. I don't think we're gonna, but I'll have a look.
Kiwi Bird says that meme was cringe. Do better, Daniel. And Danger of Mouse says, I love when I'm made fun of. I get to live rent free in your head. It is very much that. It's like if we were sitting here going, "Oh yeah, we're the fucking ducks nuts," you know, everybody look at us. We've built our egos on this whole thing. Man, I'm an amateur stand-up comedian, you know, and a retail worker. You can't hurt me.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
It's pretty funny.
You know, it's just bizarre. Like the fact, like we were talking about Annie O'Brien last night, right? This person who I have never interacted with, and I've said a couple of things about with her stuff with Sean Plunkett and her appearances on the working group and that sort of thing. That's it. That's the only impact she's had on my life. But I liked that she put me in that image, that grid of lefty beardy men who were standing up for people's unalienable human rights. Yeah, I can't say that really cut me. I was just like, oh, look, here's a couple of people I admire. I agree with that person's comments. Here's someone I don't know. Better check into that person. Oh, yeah, he's fucking rad as well. So do better, Annie. And we'll be getting more into this because I've seen what's on the docket tonight, Pat, and I think I'm just going to put this little nugget out here. We are going to be talking a couple of times about the extreme right, the people that are, say, anti-trans, the people that have gone after Ben and the Greens and all of that sort of thing. And I just want to underline one fact. They are a tiny, incestuous group that are just bouncing ideas around and sharing photos of people's kids and being venomous and mean. But there's fuck all of them.
Yeah, and hey, and let me ask a question of the whānau, because I like to be fair, and I've been thinking, how often does some kind of attack, expose, anonymous person turn out to be a right-wing troll versus you know what I mean? Like, it seems that when these things fall over, and I'm not going to say always, so the reason I'm saying this is I actually genuinely want us to think about when was the last time that some sort of unknown keyboard warrior who was out to finish the right was then outed, and you're all like, oh, that loser. It always seems to be someone on the right. Well, I can't say always, but it seems to often be the people on the right who are trying to be these virtuous kind of Chewie now. We're both going to go tonight, Chewie. These virtuous kind of we're just speaking our truth, and we're doing it for the kids. And you look at how they're doing and what they're doing, and they're just gross. And they're on, you know what I mean? It's like, if anyone can genuinely think the last time someone on the left was outed like this, then like this, did you see this today? This is the
caught behind like 5 sock puppet accounts and all of this sort of stuff. And it's just like, look, if you can't build an organic movement or like the BHN fund out here, people that just keep coming back and going, yes, I agree with this. This is why I enjoy your content.
Yeah.
Like it's every time. It's every time you find out that there's some account like Red Beta was a classic one on Twitter. And that just turned out to be someone's sock puppet account, an anonymous sock puppet account. And that person ended up being someone that was running like 5 or 6. Like he even got caught out having a back and forth conversation with himself. There was another one that was found to be creating like Maori personas to be anti-Maori. He was someone that was mentioned in Paula Penfold's documentary. And he just notorious for like creating this entire community of fake people to just comment on the things that he posted. You don't see that on our side.
Yeah, it's funny, eh? And look, speaking of, X is a cesspit of vaultingness, toxicity. But today, Benjamin Doyle was trending #1 and Rhys Williams was trending #2. So maybe there is less toxicity there today than there's been in a while. And if you're not up to date yet with the Rhys Williams story, that will be a part of the conversation that Chewie is referencing. Hey, one other thing before we go on, though, that what you've just said is true, right? But actually, it's not new. I can't remember off the top of my head. Someone in the chat will remind me, or I'll Google it and find it straight away. But there was a National Party politician who used to phone up Talkback and call himself Rangy or something like that, and put on an act. So you know, that's the equivalent of a sock puppet account, whatever you call it, and not actually. And poison the well. Try to poison the well. John Hone, there you go. John Hone Carter. Yeah. So it's like I say about bullying and stuff. It's actually no different. That it's always been here. It's just taking a different form. In the old days, it used to be in the schoolyard, and then it was, you know, you get phone calls at your house, and then you'd get emails to your house, and then you get it into your phone. So, you know, I'm not saying it's the same. It's there's much more accessibility for bullying, but it's always been there in the way that best serves the bully. And it's just a new iteration of this kind of putting on fake personas and trying to astroturf a conversation has always been there. These are just easier, you know, ways to do it more convincingly. But what we'll probably do tonight is I think we'll start with the Doyle conversation, because actually it's funny because we are going to talk about Rhys Williams, and then we are going to play a little bit about Hamish Carter? No, that's not right. Hamish Campbell. Sorry, Hamish Carter's a triathlete, isn't it? And it's funny how they all kind of flow into each other. Now, we're not saying there's any smoke or fire around Campbell at all, but thematically there's some similarities there. So when we're talking serious news, we have to say goodbye to Nala because she gets scared if she hears the wrong words. So let's, first of all, this is what we're going to do. We're going to watch the report from 3 News. Actually, no, maybe we won't do it that way. Maybe we'll play the actual 5-minute stand-up. So we've got the full 5 minutes of Benjamin Doyle delivering his thoughts. And remember what everyone said. All he needs to do is come and front the media and answer the questions. That's all he needs to do. So, Chewie, I'm assuming that means from this evening onwards, there's no more criticism of him online, because he's done all he needed to do. You know, that's what we were being told. All he needed to do was come and answer some questions. And he's done that. So I'm assuming, I haven't looked, but I'm assuming all of that stuff has gone away. That's what I'm assuming, at least anyway. So let's show, it's a full 5 minutes, and unlike our regular kind of ludicrousness, we probably won't jump in and out of this too often because it's just Benjamin making his statement, and then we'll go into the 3 News story. And the reason I want to do the 3 News story instead of the 1 News tonight is the 3 News story had more perspective from Jenna Lynch. The 1 News story had more kind of quotes from him doing his stand-up. So 1 News is more relevant to this. And then there's one thing, and I don't think it showed in either of the the news stories, because I watched the full press conference, they didn't talk about the blue swirl in either. Oh, yeah, I've got to get, okay. They, them. Gotcha. They didn't talk about the blue swirl in either of the stories. So I've gone and found there was a blue swirl question in the stand-up. So we've got that as well. So the first thing we'll do is we'll listen to Ben's statement, which is about 5 minutes to the media, so we're all going to get on the same page.
Tēnā anō koutou katoa. I'm proud to be supported by my Green Party colleagues and leaders in the Rainbow community, Kevin, Clive and Tabby. I knew coming to Parliament that I would face prejudice and homophobia. I knew that people would not like the way I dress or speak or the causes that I advocate for. I knew that I would be under scrutiny, as is appropriate for every single person that has the privilege of this position. But I could never imagine or prepare myself to be attacked in such a baseless, personal, and violent way. That my life and that of my child would be threatened. That poisonous, transphobic hate and imported culture wars would be levelled against me and my community, not just by extremists online, but by individuals who hold the highest level of authority in this institution. I am here to bring my full self into Parliament and to represent my communities in the most authentic way possible. This is why when I was advised by the party to delete the page before coming to Parliament, I chose not to.
That was a question that was quite heavily delved into in the Q&A afterwards. You know, if they suggested, obviously it wasn't a criteria, if they suggested for it to be removed, how come you didn't remove it? And the response from Ben was basically, it's not being used right now, and I'm not going to delete myself from who I am authentically. So
that was one of the things that I said when we were discussing it, right? Is like, yes, it was probably politically naive to not sanitize your online persona, but then again, part of me is like, why the fuck should someone have to do that?
Yeah, but equally to that, and this, I'm not saying this is fair, I'm just being a realist here. If you don't do that, then there might be some extra icky consequences. Yeah. I'm not saying to the standard of this. You know what I thought as well? I thought about this as I was watching. I thought, what's wrong with answering a question? You know what? This is me talking now, in case, because if I say me or he, I'm talking about myself. You know what? I said and acted in a way before I was a politician that's not appropriate for a politician. But guess what? That was then. And since then, I've changed my position. You know, like when a lot of us were 18, 19, 20, I'm sure we acted in a way around a drinking culture that wouldn't be necessarily appropriate as a parent. You know what I mean? Like, what's wrong with going, that was then? And I'll tell you, yeah, I spoke in a certain way. I acted a certain way. And I don't do that anymore because in this position, that's not appropriate. Back then when I was a student, it was accepted and appropriate, you know? So I don't think there's a middle ground where you don't have to go, this is still who I am, because we change. You know, we change. I'm not saying that as an excuse, like, you know, Russell Brand's going through something at the moment where he's talking about how he used to be a bad boy because of various charges that have just been laid against him.
He's still a bad boy.
Yeah, I'm not going to that extreme, but what I'm saying is, yeah, I did speak and act in a certain way, but now I'm in a position where speaking like that is no longer appropriate, so I don't. So, you know, it's a bit like we always used to say, you know, how would you act if you had if you had an interaction with the Queen? You know, well, King now. But you'd act and speak in a very different way than if you're doing it to your best mate who was a bartender. You can change, you can be different in different places, and that's how we all work. To your boss versus to your best mate, to your wife versus to your child. You know, I don't think I think we can all also go, we are different in different places. In my private life and my social life, I'm pretty cheeky. I use certain words and language. Well, you see all of us in this show, but I'm thinking if I was an MP sort of thing, and in my business life, that's not appropriate to act like that. So I don't. Yeah. Anyway, I just thought about that today. Right, let's keep going.
I can admit that I was politically naive, and we have paid a huge price for that naivety. None of this means I deserve the barrage of abuse and vitriol I have experienced. I have been fielding a significant number of threats to my life and the safety of my child and family, some of which have been so graphic and disturbing that I have been advised not to leave my house or appear in public due to real concerns for my safety.
I think that's an important part as well, because the perspective on Twitter and various places was, well, why has Benjamin run away and hidden? It sounds like, and I was thinking this again before I saw this, it sounds like that Ben didn't have a choice in that, because obviously you follow the advice of the experts, the security people, and they've told Ben to just go and stay at home for a while. Whereas the internet sees that as well, he's running away. They're running away. Sorry. Ben's running away. Ben should come back immediately and explain it to all of us so we can have our thoughts and feelings satiated. So I think it's important to think about the process and how it happens. And if parliamentary services or if the security at Parliament have said, Ben, you should go home for a while, then that's what you do. And that's what it sounds like he's saying happened. They were saying. Might have done it again then.
These attacks I've faced have been baseless and cruel. Queer people are not a danger to children. This is an outdated and homophobic lie. I have been targeted due to both my identity as a queer and non-binary parent and my public platform as an outspoken member of Parliament. In particular, images of my child from my private Instagram account have been taken without permission, removed from their original context, and shared online in misleading and manipulative ways. Context is key, and something that has been deliberately ignored and twisted by some incredibly bad faith actors looking for an excuse to punch down on someone who represents something they don't agree with. The post at the centre of these baseless attacks include 10 images from a range of activities in my life, with a pop culture pun in the caption. Pussy galore is an in-joke and a nickname. The translation here is me at large living my best life. Referring to myself in this way on Instagram is an expression of my queer identity, and it acts as a persona, much like a drag performer or a comedian might use. The caption, which references me, is an example of the way marginalised communities often reclaim or subvert language in order to exist unapologetically.
So Ben's just made it very clear. Bussy on Instagram was talking about themselves. As you were saying, Chewie, Ben's just confirmed there was 10 photos to that one caption. Now, again, those out there who have been looking for blood, come and answer the question and explain it if there's no problems. He has. Now what? So do we expect a certain pile of melting pancake batter tomorrow morning to go, oh, well, Ben has explained it all. It's all fine now.
Pat might have something about that. Let's finish the clip.
Okay. Is it anything to do with Rhys Williams?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Because I've got something about that as well. I'm just wondering if you're going to usurp my little thing. But whatever.
No, I got secrets.
All right.
I recognise that bussy is not a term all rainbow people use or like, but it is one that is commonly understood and appreciated by my friends and community. For me, this term is wordplay and represents the combination of my masculine and feminine qualities as a non-binary person, someone whose gender doesn't fit into a strict category. It is also a satirical in-joke referencing pop music, drag culture, Bond novels, and 1960s cinema, made about myself with people who know me in mind. The vast majority of New Zealanders will not tolerate violent and malicious rhetoric in our country. They will not accept toxic conspiracies which attempt to bully and threaten queer people out of public life. I refuse to be disappeared by hate. We have a choice as members of Parliament to reject this imported culture war of hate and division. We can and must do better than this, because that is what the people of Aotearoa deserve.
So there you go. Thanks to stuff.co.nz for all of that. Now, I've got more to play, Chewie. Like there's the news item and there's the question about the swirl, the blue swirl. But do you want to drop something now, or?
Yeah, look, I got two things. One's a comment on that press conference.
Mm-hmm.
They hit every note, every question, I'm just asking questions. They explained it to people that were not familiar with aspects of who they are and the community that they're part of and all of that sort of thing. That was pitch perfect. Hats off. You mentioned the BHN nemesis. You're not going to like this, Pat. I'm just going to say, you're not going to like
I have to tell you something else. I don't know what you know, but there's a story already tonight on the platform about Reese. Is it Rhys Williams? Is that the right name? So
Reese
that'll
Witherspoon is the mastermind behind all of this.
Yeah.
So let's hear from Sean Oliver Plunkett. I will say this for Benjamin Doyle. They have displayed a level of bravery and courage rarely seen in politics. Agree with them or not, they have put a stake in the ground.
I've got. Let's bookshelf that for a bit, because there may be a reason why Sean Plunkett is coming out trying to put balance in.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Well, I'm taking this at face value at the moment, and I have to say, apart from the fact of not getting the pronouns right, it's difficult for Sean. He's old, stuck in his ways, whatever. On its face value, I go, hats off. That's a good comment from someone that I would not have expected it from. If he's since stood on his own deck, I also 100% understand that.
Let's just say this. I don't want to bury the lead. I'm keeping my powder dry because I want to finish this story first. But Sean Plunkett and his minions got up to something today around Rhys Williams, and I just wonder, if you put the two things together, that feels a little more disingenuous than maybe we would think normally about Sean Plunkett. So just bookmark that. We'll come back to it. Let's have a look at the story of 3 News. Now, this is going to have some repetition to it because there is going to be some clips from the stand-up, but this is more about the toing and froing, and this shows more of the conversation and the questions from the journalists afterwards. I think it gives us a good sort of mix. You stole my thing, didn't you? There we go. So 3 News story tonight. Let's go.
Flagged by members of the Rainbow community for support and choosing the Rainbow Room to make a return.
Tēnā anō koutou katoa.
Benjamin Doyle is back in the Parliament.
I am here to bring my full self.
Doyle, who uses the pronouns they, them, had been absent in the wake of a social storm over their old Instagram account, Bible Belt Bussy.
Do you believe you've done anything wrong, Benjamin?
No, I don't.
Bussy is a term used by some in the queer community. It's a combination of the words boy and pussy.
Context is key.
Today, Doyle fronting up to explain what bussy means to them.
For me, this term is wordplay and represents the combination of my masculine and feminine qualities as a non-binary person.
One of the posts on Doyle's page included the caption "Bussy galore" under a series of photos, one of which featured their child. We've chosen not to show it to protect the privacy of the child.
Bussy galore is an in-joke and a nickname. The translation here is me at large living my best life.
The photos had been posted across X along with inflammatory insinuations Doyle's child was in danger.
These attacks I've faced have been baseless and cruel. Queer people are not a danger to children.
The Deputy Prime Minister amplified that online chatter, even at some point raising the prospect of a police investigation.
What does bussy galore mean? What does it mean with all those photographs? Why have the 52 posts been taken down? Have you seen them?
The account, once public, was switched to
Just remember that as well for our future conversation. If people start deleting things, it's a sign of some kind of guilt and of nefarious actions. Just keep that in your mind. If people start deleting things, there's nefarious. That's the only reason, right? It's bad. They've done something bad, so they delete them. That's what's been talked about all week.
private when it became clear to Doyle they would become an MP following Darlene Tana's departure. A number of posts on the page were deleted too.
Do you believe there was anything problematic about any of the posts that you made on your social media, and why have you deleted so many of them?
In the context of that old account, my personal account, and the posts that you're talking about, they were made in reference to me, about me and my life, and they have been taken wildly out of context and manipulated.
They had already been advised to delete the page when they became a candidate.
When I was advised by the party to delete the page before coming to Parliament, I chose not to. I can admit that I was politically naive.
Doyle says threats have been made to their life and their family. 3 News understands police are investigating at least one threat.
I have been fielding a significant number of threats to my life and the safety of my child and family, some of which have been so graphic and disturbing that I had been advised not to leave my house or appear in public.
There were calls for Doyle to go, the Green MP getting emotional, explaining why they're choosing to stay.
Because this is really important, this fight that we're having right now. If I were to step down and to move away from this space, our community would lose a voice. And we don't have much representation in here, especially non-binary takatapui people.
Choosing to fight rather than fall.
There you go. So that's the story. I've got one more clip to play, which is the conversation, the direct. So it's interesting that online there's been such a lot made about this blue squiggle. Neither of the news reporter, because it's a question in the thing. But so that's the last thing I've got to play. But do you want to say anything to that? To that 3 News story, Chewie?
I'm already seeing a pivot now that they've had this press conference and that sort of thing. And now people are focusing on the fact that, I thought he was told to take it down and he didn't. What's going on with the Greens? Does no one listen to instructions?
It was interesting watching
the constant shifting.
Yeah, it was interesting watching the full.
Is exhausting.
The full Q&A at the end, how often the journalists asked the same question, and even though Ben had already answered it, they asked it again. And I guess part of the reason they do that is like Mikey wants her voice and Jenna wants her voice, and to be part of their story. But it just must be frustrating for a politician to be like, you see them sometimes in the past go, asked and answered. I've already answered that. That's already been answered. Yeah. That's already, I've done that. But even after it gets explained, like when you give an answer, to then be asked it again or a variant of it, you're like, well, I've already. So it says one of two things: either they're asking again because they just want their own cut for their own show, or they're asking again because they sort of don't believe the answer, trying to push harder. It's strange.
I think like a big part of this was Winston just asking questions, or as I like to refer to it, jacking off. What does this mean? What does this mean? Have you asked them? I see this press conference from the aspect of like he's talking to Winston. like settle down, Matua. This is what it all means. Gently educating. Yeah, cool. Maybe I should have thought of this, but I didn't. And this is still important, and this is who I am, and all of that sort of stuff. There's a lot of people that are out there that don't get this. They don't get trans people. They don't get non-binary people. Don't make. Why can't a boy be a boy and a girl be a girl? And that's fine. It's fine to not get it. If it hasn't had any impact on your life, why would you? And there's already, like, I've seen comments in the chat from someone going, "Oh, look, I saw this press conference. I didn't get it. Why? Who is they? Is he they?" And I'm like, "Oh, is this deliberate, or is this someone just learning stuff?"
Maybe
Like-
Winston thought it was like 7 people. Maybe he thought it was like a ring of people because the word "they" was used.
Yeah, and like there'll be people out there, and in the queer community, there are people in there as well that were like, "No, we were fine with the lesbians and the gays, and that was it." And everybody that came after that is wrong as well. Everybody's capable of doing it. But what I see in that story is a pretty good primer and a pretty good rundown of what all of this means. Nothing is being concealed from the sounds of it. And that's it. And I believe that there's been an offer for Benjamin to sit down with Winston Peters, which has been declined.
Yeah, well, I heard Ben say that we should meet up, sort of thing. But I think Winston was asked that, if not in the 3 article we just watched, then probably on 1, and seemed to be like, "Meh." But yeah, okay, let's have a look now, because it seems strange to me that the media is doing this, the news media is asking all these questions, but the one they didn't publicize was one of these biggest conspiracy theories. It's the blue swirl. That's the confirmation. The blue swirl.
Yeah.
So he did get asked. They did get asked that in the stand-up, and I think that it's appropriate for us to give their response to it.
Concerns that have been raised online with you, just so you can address them outright. There have been some concerns raised about the use of the spiral emoji. Are you aware of the connotations of that online and its links to child sexual harm?
In Aotearoa, we are surrounded by Māori motifs such as the koru. I don't know a single person who would look at a spiral in this country earnestly and think anything as malicious as that. I was not aware of that conspiracy, and I would only use that, as most people would, as a reference to a koru in Aotearoa.
You were asked by the party.
You mentioned at the beginning that the party advised you to remove.
And they go back to the same questions after questions after questions after questions after questions. And can I just say what I said earlier, or late last week? Do you really think conspiracy theorists, or maybe it's because you're that dumb that you would do this? Remember we talked about when people think that you're a shill and you'd sell out for money. What it's actually saying is, well, if I got offered a big chunk of money, I'd sell out, so you must do it as well. Maybe they're just so stupid, but if you think about what would have to happen for someone to use that swirl as an identifiable character, that means they'd have to be okay with the FBI hunting for it online for the past 20 years to identify people who are attracted to minors. Do you think anyone is really going to use that symbol in this day and age who is in that community, if that's the right word to use, in that cesspool of people who would look to do that kind of horrific crime, when they already know that it's been identified as a public symbol and the FBI are looking for it? It just makes no sense whatsoever.
So here's my view on this. Over the past decade, I've sometimes paddled in some of the vilest parts of the internet. I've sort of referenced this before. And sort of seen a lot of the conspiracies about pedophiles and QAnon and all of this sort of stuff. This is, hand on heart, the first time that I've seen this squiggle emoji or whatever used
as
in
is everybody,
reference to this.
but that's exactly the same as every other person in New Zealand who's also already now an expert on it, showing what exactly it means. This is the first time they'd seen it as well, but they're experts. Within 60 minutes of knowing it, they've got all the information.
Yeah, it's strange. Look, it's such a beat up, and I think it's really interesting that you would have seen the study that was published by the Otago University today.
Women and PTSD from female
just the level of vitriol that has come from the public towards MPs has ramped up markedly over the years, and just that it's constant. And okay, that study did focus very much on women in Parliament, but I think it like, I'm sure if you went through everybody, and it would certainly start with brown women, minority groups, people that don't fit in a gender box, people who are obviously a part of a minority community and that sort of thing, going right up to the tippy top of the straight white male who doesn't get the same level of vitriol that these people do. I just want to say, and I would love to get people on both sides together on this sort of thing. We are soaking in politics all the time. We're completely invested in this. I've been fucked off with the other side. That makes me really, really mad with the mean policies, the dumb policies, all of this sort of race baiting, queer baiting, all of this stuff. It drives me fucking crazy. I have never ever thought, you know what'll fix this? I'm going to send Winston Peters a death threat. I'm going to tell Luxon that I'm going to fucking rape him in front of his family.
Struth.
I'm going to leave. So look, with Struth, right? Well, this is what these women and left MPs and all of this sort of stuff are getting. Not leaving dead animals on their electorate doorsteps. This is where we're at. Left and right, play the objective, play the policy. You know, I can be as guilty as others of sometimes falling into gendered insults, and I honestly try to avoid it. I think Nicola Willis, as an example, is a terrible finance minister because of the policies and decisions that she's made. I don't think it has anything to do with her genitals. So what the fuck is going on? Like, I know we've got some people on the other side of the conversation in the chat today.
Hey, crunchies,
like
crunchies.
Our crunchy croutons, the people that break up the texture of the delicious soup that is the BHN community. Surely we can get some consensus here. Surely we can see what this Benjamin Doyle thing is on its value. It was created by some fringe operators. It was passed around in some of the shitty parts of the internet, and it has made it all the way to the wrinkled, wizened claws of our deputy prime minister, and he decided to run with that. Isn't that fucked? It's nothing against Benjamin's policies or the bills that he's putting forward or his portfolio. It's nothing about how the Green Party operate. Someone went through someone's personal Instagram account to create this. And if they really, really believed a child is in danger, like if you discovered that, like if I went right now, picked a random National Party backbencher, went through all of their social media to find a photo that I could spin, and I go to my online supporters and I spin that story and build a conspiracy out of it, but it's about the children. If you really believed that a child was in danger, wouldn't you go straight to the fucking police?
Yeah.
So
and of course,
it's bullshit.
It is bullshit. And of course, if it's not bullshit, then I think we've got a problem in Wellington with the Hurricanes. Someone's got to start asking the hard questions of the Hurricanes football team.
Oh, we're
it's
just
fair-
asking questions.
just asking questions. I want to know what's the age limit for the better look out for those ball boys. So you know what I'm saying? It's like it's redonkulous. It's so redonkulous.
Maybe I'm politically naive, and these people feel like this is the best way to operate.
Maybe it's not that you're naive, it's you're an idealist and you want to see things done properly. So do I. I mean, this is the thing about what we do. We laugh and we joke and we tease, but when it's worth ripping the Band-Aid off, we rip it. I mean, let's move on to our next story, because our next story is a quick one for us. But, we had a conversation with Tamatha Paul last night, and that's made the news because in this show, she wasn't particularly gracious towards Chewie. If we're on the left and we've got a relationship with the left parties, if it's something that needs to be ripped off, like we think, me and Chewie at least think, the way that Chewie spoke about and handled the accusations towards Tamatha, then we'll say it. So let's have a look at this. New Zealand Herald. Green MP Tamatha Paul fires back at Labour, says the expectations of parties' law and order policies were already low. So this is on ZB as well now at the moment. Has the build up about everything that happened, what happened when the comments were made. But Paul remains defiant, speaking on a recent episode of BHN podcast. At least they didn't big hair.
BHN mentioned. Yeah.
At least they didn't call us the big hair.
BHN mentioned mainstream media.
The Green MP said she felt frustrated regarding Hipkins' comments. I mean, we don't have to read it all out because she went through. Host Pat Britton and asked Paul how it felt having to be the grown-ups in the room all the time. The thing with law and order and Labour is my expectations were already low. So, that's, if they wanted to, Labour could look at that and go, why are you guys, what you're adding fuel to the fire? Because if we think something needs to be talked about, we'll talk about it. The thing about this, which is most hilarious, is poor old Mark Mitchell. This is the thing that's most hilarious about it. So when we asked about obviously Tamatha being police minister, Paul said, well, I would be far more intelligent than Mark Mitchell. I mean, the guy doesn't even know what systemic bias is. All these questions being wasted in the House, and he just says the same old thing over and over. She told the podcast he would reduce the amount of power and discretion police held if they were in charge. Goes on to say that. Mitchell responded to the comments in a post on his Facebook page. He is coping so hard. He said in 18 months he had been ministerial role, Labour and the Greens had made deeply personal attacks on him. Oh, and look how long it is. Look how long. It's lots and lots of words. It's lots of words. I'm not going to read it all out.
Mark Mitchell deserves a right of reply. He should come on the show.
I thought about it, but we know they wouldn't. It's we know they wouldn't. The funniest thing is, and I'm not going to spend all of our time reading through this whole thing, you guys can go look at yourself, is he says in here that I totally reject the claim that people feel less safe with police on the beat. Not what she said. In fact, there is overwhelming evidence that the opposite is true. Not true. It is complete nonsense to claim that all our beat police do is persecute homeless people. Not what she said. In fact, the complete opposite is true. Our frontline police officers are always looking for ways to support and help rough sleepers. I commented on it. And I said this. So, Mark, are you saying 100% of people feel safer with more police around? Because that's not what the police's own research says. It's unarguable that with research or just using logic, some people, which is what Tamatha said, feel less safe with more police around. And then I also put a lovely link that people could go to the interview, myself and other people saying that,
The Herald didn't do it.
Said. Yeah.
Herald didn't put the link up.
Yeah. No. But at least they didn't call us Big Hair News like RNZ did. The podcast about 80s.
Never forget Radio New Zealand. I saw that as well, and I laughed because he does, and the thing, he's obviously seen it. He does exactly what Tamatha criticized him for. I'm like, he doesn't know the numbers and he's not across the facts and figures, and all he says is that New Zealand police are world class, which he does in that Facebook post.
Yeah.
As well as misrepresenting what he has been misrepresenting the whole time.
Hilarious.
Okay. The other thing I like about this, and I haven't got this clip. It's a reel or a TikTok that the National Party have done with their 7 social media people have decided to come out. Is they've got a clip of Tamatha Paul DJing her anti-police anthems.
Yeah.
But really, Luxon and Mark Mitchell are out on the street with our police. Now, that footage is them walking through central Wellington with their full diplomatic protection squad and a ring of police around them. And I'm just like, I don't think this makes you look like the party of the people like you want it to. It looks like you can't go out in central Wellington and get a coffee without a protection squad 35 men deep. It's weird.
I'm assuming it's this one, is it?
No. Next row down. That one.
Oh my God, bro. Oh hell no, man. What the fuck? Oh my God.
And look, what you say, can I just say this without objectifying her? Tamatha Paul, one of the coolest looking MPs the world has ever seen. I mean, check that out.
I can only imagine if you gave Mark Mitchell and Christopher Luxon the opportunity to DJ Cuba Duper, what an absolute mood killer that would be.
Okay. All right, team. Now, this next part of the podcast, we're going to be talking a bit more about the Benjamin Doyle situation, but from the opposite side, from the perpetrators of the misinformation. Now, I'll just put it out there, little old dyslexic me, there's a lot of reading in this. I asked for one of the authors of this article to come on, but they didn't. But it's really well worth getting on. And Chewie, I'll probably ask at some stage for you to bring that clip back up. But let's start. Businessman behind toxic online Benjamin Doyle campaign. The anonymous online account that helped spark a political firestorm over Green MP Benjamin Doyle's past Instagram posts is run by a businessman who is a former New Zealand First member, the Post can reveal. Now, the reason that's important is these are now feels and allegations and thoughts, but New Zealand First was the first to come out with this and push hard. And the person who is one of the igniters of this rumor is a former New Zealand First member. Now, by former, do they mean they haven't been a member for a week, for a year, for a month? What does that mean? Rhys Williams. There you go. Have a look at Reese there. There you go, Reese. From New Plymouth is behind the inflammatory X, formerly Twitter account, how do you say that? Etika? Which last... Oh, Tui Tekk. Got it. Tui Tekk. Gotcha. Which last month unearthed posts from Doyle's pre-parliament Instagram page, Bible Belt Bussy. Bunch of other bits and pieces. Do you want to hear a bit from him? Should we hear a bit from him? I'll just see what I've highlighted so I don't cock it up.
Oh, is that from Inflection Point?
Well, he ran it. That's his.
So this is exactly what I'm talking about how small this group is.
Yep.
So for those of you that don't know, Inflection Point was basically a conference for people that hate trans people.
Air quotes, conference. Air quotes, conference. Let's have a listen to the man himself.
Okay, everybody, we're about to start. My name's Rhys Williams. I'm one of the organisers for Unsilenced from Inflection Point, New Zealand, and it really is a pleasure to welcome everyone here today. And I certainly respect the fact that it was under some pretty trying conditions. But the main thing is that we're here and we made it.
Anyway, it doesn't say anything too much of interest, so we won't get through any more of that. We'll keep reading, shall we? At the center of this campaign is Tui Tekk, which is which has called for more dirt on Doyle and relentlessly targeted political opponents with slurs, smears, and thinly veiled allegations of pedophilia. There is no evidence suggesting New Zealand First is involved with the account. The party said Williams is not a current member. I was a bit like, I'm a bit cautious about, how to, should we say alleged? I'll show you the Tui Tekka Twitter feed. He's come out admitting it's him, so there's no question about it now. The post linked Williams to the account through a trail of biographical breadcrumbs, references to jobs, locations, and a recent anonymous interview on the platform. Williams, who has lived abroad for much of the past 20 years, has kept a low public profile on the platform. He explained, this is the interview. I haven't actually seen if that's still there. You could look up the platform and see if it's called something like the man behind the Doyle dossier. Let's see if that's still there. He explained why he wanted to remain anonymous. Now, this is what he says. I've got children. I've got a job. I've got a life. Didn't
done, buddy.
Didn't think about like Benjamin Doyle. Benjamin Doyle's got a child, got a job, got a life. That will blow that up. But NIMBY to the power of 10. We've seen what happened to other people who speak out on particular issues. It can become quite nasty. Really? Last year, Williams organised and emceed the Inflection Point Conference in Wellington, a gathering opposing the gender indoctrination, in quote marks, of children. Online, Tui Tekka was explicit about the writer's political leanings. I literally started my account to encourage people to vote New Zealand first, one post read. Goes on. Responding to the post story following publication, the Tui Tekka account posted, "Hear this, bozos," spelling mistake. "It's X. You'll find thousands of the same sentiments expressed on any given day in New Zealand. I'm a proud New Zealander." It's not proud enough to put your name behind your X profile. "And I do not regret standing up for what's right. I do not regret exposing a public interest matter, and I won't be stopping tweeting about issues or offering my opinion on subjects that I know many good Kiwis support me on." I think the word good in there could be removed. Any Kiwis support me on. "And I would encourage you all to also continue doing so. Don't let them win." In a statement, New Zealand First President Julian Paul said the party was not responsible for posts made by its supporters on their private social media accounts. "To the best of our knowledge, this account existed for years and well before New Zealand First even returned to Parliament," he said. "The account was created in February 2023. So
the ancient past of 2023. The old days.
Paul also said the party nor Peters had ever coordinated, planned, or even communicated with Williams about Doyle, and it was not the party's role to act as some sort of totalitarian thought police. I mean, there's lots of other things. So maybe, I'm not saying this happened, but he didn't communicate with the party or with Peters. So maybe he communicated with one of the press secretaries. Maybe he communicated with an underling. Maybe he communicated with the social media person. Like I'm not saying he did do that, but that statement in and of itself could be true, and he still could have funneled information to New Zealand First as well. "We became aware of the Doyle issue just like everyone else, reading the plethora of posts on multiple social media platforms," Paul said. "Our party has a huge number of members, most of whom have personal social media accounts, and they alone are responsible for. We do not scroll through and monitor every member's posts and vet them, nor should we. We believe in the freedom of expression and freedom of speech. If there is any accusations of slander, slurs, smears, or false allegations, that is for the individuals involved to address." And there's just a delightful collection of the things that his pseudonym, which is also known as Holy Heka Tui Tekka, fucking junkie, crack whore, your next bitch, awful fucking bitch is what she is, and just another Marxist idiot bitch, such a cringy mental illness bitch. Oh look, act pedo supporter. New Zealand has lost. Every one of our institutions will be captured by the pedo death cult. Every fucking one of them, and it goes on and on and on and on.
Just before you carry on there, Pat, we just got an interjection from the chat.
Gosh.
Reese is a nice guy, and I've met him before.
Okay, so after all of those images, the account goes on, the report goes on to say the account lavishes praise on New Zealand First while heaping vitriol on the party's perceived enemies, including journalists, academics, and rival politicians. He's blocked me, so maybe I'm doing something right. Among the insults, one female journalist is the stupid bitch, and another is a communist C word, cunt, I guess. A prominent academic is a dumb Marxist bitch. Nicola Williams is a sick bitch. Chloe Swarbrick is a mental illness bitch. And Dame Jacinda Ardern is an evil, stupid bitch, a cunt, and a junkie crack whore. Can I just say something? For all you people on the right who like to throw abuse at people on the left and use words like incel because of the attitudes that you say the left have towards women. Hello? I mean, I'm sure there's many more comments on the Twitter feed, but there's nothing about guys in that at all. It's all about women. MPs Matt Ducey and Chris Bishop are also called child abuser and rainbow retard, respectively. Prime Minister Christopher Luxon is a giant pervert. The account sometimes implies that its targets are either pedophiles or sympathetic to pedophilia. One post reads, "The Greens, quote, use kids any way they please. They turn them into political and sexual playthings," end quote. The account has called Doyle P. Diddy Doyle, a reference to the musician. Yada, we know that. It also said Doyle hasn't claimed he's not what he has now. So you're okay with that now? Despite these highly vulgar, personal vulgar attacks, Tui Tekka is followed by various senior New Zealand First figures, including Party President Julian Paul, who we just heard from, Party Secretary Holly Howard, a board member, Helmer Vermeulen, and MPs Shane Jones, Jenny Marcroft, and Tanya Unkovic.
So if they follow him, he makes a comment, they see it.
Yeah.
And they're fine with that shit show screed of abusive gendered insults.
Apparently.
Far out, man.
After our conversation the last couple of days about defamation, I find this really interesting. A legal grey zone. Media law experts told the Post that some of the posts by the account were legally questionable. I think there is potential defamation liability for some of these posts and comments, but online defamation can be pretty complicated, said barrister and media law specialist Stephen Price. I think a court would dismiss some of these comments as mere vulgar abuse. Choice. Some could be defended as honest opinion. Some are doing no more than calling for an investigation, but others are flat out calling him. I guess I'm not sure whether he's talking about Ben there, calling someone a dangerous pedophile, or clearly implying that they're the most likely to be found defamatory, since the evidence strikes me as tenuous. Now, unfortunately, the rest of the article, there must be a limit for the post, and I have to pay for the rest of it now. So I haven't actually bookmarked any more, but there's a bunch more of the tweets. And there goes on to say, so I haven't pre-read all of this because the strongest claims appear to be about the Green Party in general. Edgler said, but the connection to Doyle was likely strong enough to form the basis of a claim that's about defamation. One here, this one, for Cassandra Mudgway, and I think that's Cassandra there. Yep. For Cassandra Mudgway, a senior law lecturer at the University of Canterbury, the torrent of online abuse directed at Doyle was what she calls online violence. Laws like the Harmful Digital Communications Act were designed to address online harassment by a single person, she said, but most distressing kinds of abuse comes from the sheer number of violent commentators, most of whom are unknown to the victim or intentionally anonymous. And I think that's such a huge part of this conversation, right? Such a huge part of the conversation is if you go to his, is that it there? No, that's not it there. Did I have it anywhere else? If you go to his, here it is. So this is the post he put up afterwards. Doxing for clips is all the media and I have left, and I do mean left. No wonder 75% of the public distrust the media. Person A is a private citizen who brought to light a disgusting and public social media post of person B, a member of parliament, who they shield and give an easy ride to, yet they go after the messenger like some kind of white knight hero. Just more reason why mainstream media is dead. Their biggest hit against me is that I am a New Zealand First voter. Anyone who follows me clearly knows I'm my voting preference. It's in my Twitter bio. I like how they picked on the saltiest tweets to stir up controversy. Heard these bozos, it's X, you'll find thousands of them, yada, yada, yada. But the thing is, right, he's talking about private citizen. it's not that you lose the right to anonymity, but if you are doing potentially defamatory thing as an anonymous person, for me, that's a different level of scrutiny. So that's one of the, like, if he had his actual name there, little arrow, New Plymouth, and made all these comments, you're kind of like, well, you know, we know who it is. Now we can choose whether we participate with this person or not. But it's the anonymous nature of it. Now, just before we go, Chewie, there's one more thing. When I told you that I wanted you to bring back up that clip, it's probably about get ready to bring it back up, because the platform has had Rhys Williams on a couple of times. And remember, including Mr. Plunkett, deleting all those tweets, deleting content is evidence that you've done something wrong. So the big question is, I wonder why when we click on the conversation with Rhys Williams, it's been taken down by the platform.
Oh.
And if we click on the other conversation, which is down here, inflection points Rhys Williams on attempting to cancel speaking on the platform, yeah, that's been deleted as well. And if you go onto their YouTube channel and you look up Rhys Williams, yep, that's been deleted as well. So when you showed that image, and feel free, I'll take mine down, bring yours back up now. When you showed that image, you have to scroll in a little bit for me. I'm old and blind. And
I don't know where I've put that window now.
It's got Sean Plunkett saying some positive things about Benjamin Doyle. And they've taken down at least 2 interviews with Rhys Williams. I approach this tweet with some amount of skepticism. I wonder if they're covering, I don't know what was said in those interviews, but I can't imagine it would be defamatory. But I wonder why Sean Plunkett would say this and take down the interviews with whatever his name is. I've forgotten it. Rhys Williams. He's that unimportant. So there you go, Joe.
You just say Reese Witherspoon.
That's the whole summation of this person. They have been outed now. You know me, Chewie, and we've done this in the last couple of weeks. I'm pretty reticent to give people's details out. We don't believe in doxing. It's something we don't do. So I'm someone who is less ready to just say it's this person from here. But when it gets reported in the media, this is a stuff.co.nz publication, The Post. We just report it and we say Stuff is reporting. The Post is reporting, and that was a report from Stuff. I know it was a lot of reading, and I apologize for that, guys, but there was no moving pictures. And that's one of the main guys, and I guess the other is Annie O'Brien, who created a lot of the smoke or fire, which would it be? Whatever. A lot of the noise around Benjamin Doyle, and he seems like absolute revolting. Well, I mean, you knew that already, but now that it's been outed who he is, it'll be interesting to see what happens next. Because remember, look, I'm not about vigilantism, but he didn't want to release his name on Plunkett's show. Oh, I should look that up as well. See if that one's been deleted. Look, he didn't want to do that, right? Because he was aware that the heat that could bring on him, all while helping to put burning coals on the head of Benjamin Doyle, bringing him enough heat that Benjamin had to go home for his own safety.
Yeah, it's fucked. I want these people out of the political discourse. And I'm sure it's happened that people have come into the orbit of, hanging around political movements and that sort of thing, and there'll be people who go, "Oh fuck, this guy's a bit yuck. I don't want to associate it." That needs to happen more. Like, I would love this to damage Annie O'Brien. Like she has moved between the machinery of various political parties. It's one of the things that she seems to be very proud of is that she's worked in people's campaign offices and that sort of thing. She's worked on the platform, and famously, her and Sean did not get on, and it devolved into what was it? Was it employment? So she took him to employment court or something like that. Like, why is she still circulating? Why is she someone that has the juice to go on the working group as someone that has a valid opinion about something? You know, I hope this damages her reputation. I hope it blows up in her face. I hope that this guy, whatever his business is, just implodes and his circle gets smaller and smaller and smaller, just like Graham Lineham's did.
Yeah,
like if you want to torpedo your life by being just a shitty human, I wish you could do it without fucking affecting other people's lives. It's amazing. I read a story today from down here, a councillor in the Southland area. I'm not sure if it was Clutha or the Southland District Council or something like that. A guy that is of Māori descent. He was just talking about how he received a phone call or a phone message where someone identified themselves through a whole lot of abuse his way and finished the conversation by telling him that he was an N-word and needed to get his shit together and get out of politics.
Wow.
Now that that councillor went to the police about it, and the police told him, write him a letter. Yeah, weird advice. So the guy wrote him a letter, hasn't heard anything back from him. So the next stage is go to the press and just say, hey, look, this is the sort of shit that we have to deal with. Very much like this Otago University piece that's come out.
Yeah.
And in this article, he goes, look, I don't want to blow up this guy's reputation and his business. And like that's admirable. I don't think I would be that admirable. Like this person's reputation is not your responsibility. That goes out the window the moment he drunkenly called you in the middle of the night and called you the N-word. Blow up his, like if he's known in his community, blow him up.
Yeah.
He didn't do it anonymously. He put his fucking name on it.
Yeah.
Same with this guy.
Yeah.
Like you can be judged by your words and your actions. Did you do these things? Yes, you fucking did. Does a big portion of the population consider it vile and offensive? Yes. So there is repercussions for this. It might not be legally actionable, but there are going to be consequences.
The other thing, just looking at the website as well, and I don't know what part of this displays. If you have a look at the platform, for example, all the coverage of the Benjamin Doyle situation, which remember on some level has been fanned into flames by Rhys Williams. The videos done it over the last week. There's several of them. Will have earned the platform, I would say, about $1,000 New Zealand dollars if you look at the number of views they've got, knowing what the rate for YouTube has. So the algorithm for this has earned the platform money. This is a commercial thing. I just wonder in that setting, does it make any difference to any kind of proceedings? Like, because I'm pretty sure that Benjamin was asked at the stand up about defamation and that kind of stuff, and I'm pretty sure they said something like, hadn't really thought about that yet, but it was something certainly worth investigating. And I'm just like, you talk about blow it up. I'm like, shit, yeah, blow it up. It would be fascinating to see what happens. And I wonder if that's one of the reasons. Because the one about the man behind the Benjamin Doyle Bible Bossy dossier is still up. They haven't taken that one down. So why they'll have taken the other ones down, not sure. But it smells a bit fishy. It smells a bit fishy.
Yeah, like as far as those, how many stories did the platform do on this?
Well,
how many are tagged with it?
3, 4, 5, at least 6. So at least one a day for the past week, you know.
How many clips do they have about Tim Jago?
Yes, very good point.
Like honestly,
or how flippant are they being about Hamish Campbell?
yeah. So honestly, can we weigh these on their merits? The president of the ACT Party was an embezzler and a pedophile, and the leader of the party knew.
Can I just say, sorry to interrupt you, I just put Jago into the search engine for that, and there's literally nothing.
Oh, not a fucking thing. That's great. So he's an embezzler and a pedophile, and the leader of the party knew. They concealed it, tried to get it to go to an employment lawyer, didn't go to the police. Victim had to go to the police. That's a political scandal. The fact that it was under name suppression, sure, name suppression, that's what it's there for. But the fact that it was extended for so long because it would affect the election, that is a political scandal.
Yeah.
And he actually did it. It's not rumors. It's not people online going, I reckon this guy's a pedophile because he used a fucking emoji I don't like.
Or wore that shirt. That's the shirt that's the color of pedophiles.
Yeah. He did it.
Yeah.
He did it. The ACT Party president was a pedophile, and that was concealed by the ACT Party leader, who is very soon going to be our deputy prime minister.
Yeah.
Why is that not the question whenever someone asks David Seymour anything? If he calls a little press conference and is quietly trying to push Mihiringi Forbes out of fucking frame the whole time, why is the next question go, how long did you know that Tim Jago was a pedophile?
Speaking of, I connected with Mihi. I don't know Mihi Narangi, but I connected trying to look about the mini doco, and she has said a new mini doco coming soon, maybe a week or so. So there you go. There's the goss.
Like that's the political scandal of the year, and it died within a week.
Yeah. But look, as much as some people hold the mainstream media, leftist mainstream media, like where were they on that as well? I guess that's where we kind of we either support everyone or piss on everyone, depending on what night it is, Chewie. I think if it ends in a Y, we piss on everyone. But it's like the mainstream media didn't do anything with that really. They reported it and then they moved on. Yeah, where was the pressure on David Seymour about sending the victim to the lawyer rather than the police? Like that. Yep. Now, okay. I'm going to ask a question, not make an accusation.
Just asking questions.
Just asking questions. But this is a genuine question. If you know a crime has been committed and you tell the person to go to a lawyer rather than the police, is that an accessory? Like, I genuinely don't know the answer to that. Is that an accessory?
I don't know.
Just asking questions, Chewie. I'm just asking questions.
My gut reaction is no, I don't think it would make you an accessory. It'd make you a shitty person. It certainly speaks to an action of trying to conceal it for your own benefits, because that would have blown up your election run for sure. But look, personally, okay, I'm the leader of the Billy Big Balls party, and I'm having a good run, and like I'm looking like I'm approaching 8% for the upcoming election, and then I find out, Pat, that you have done something monstrous.
Oh dear.
Rather than conceal it, I'd be fucked off with you because you have ruined my run for glory and leadership.
Oh well.
So like maybe this is just not how I operate. And I go, I found out that Pat is this monstrous person, that he makes what's something really. You know what he does?
Something non-clippable for somebody else to put into an edit.
It has just come to my attention that Pat likes to put mayonnaise in a soda stream. Oof. And make it like fizzy mayo. That's and I've just aware of that. I've completely cut ties. I've called the cops immediately. I wish the worst on this man. Like that's not how that someone told me that you like to carbonate your mayo, and I went, oh, that's a bad look. yeah, look, let's put them in a box and not talk about it. It's fucked. It's all fucked. Like, we had weeks and weeks and weeks of bullshit about Golders. We had weeks and weeks and weeks of bullshit about Kerry Allen. That was more serious, admittedly. Todd Muller self-destructs, and everyone had the advice from their better angels, and we went, oh well, yes, it's a tough job, and rah, 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 rah. And he was allowed to just flutter off. You know, we didn't ride his mental health crisis like it was just, oh, it's a straight white man that's had a tough go of things. You know, Jacinda was like, well, you know, it's brave to admit these things. Why is it that we're always trying to be fair about stuff and extend an olive branch and build bridges and that sort of thing, and then the right or supporters of the right are like, here's my opportunity to be a poisonous, venomous cunt, potentially anonymously, and then if someone works out it was me, please don't destroy my business. Please don't make my wife leave me.
It is what we asked Tamatha the other night, and it is what you see in America. Too much so, the Democrats reach across the aisle and they allow things through for the Democrats. I mean, we just had the possibility of shutting down the government, and they decided to let it go through rather than making them figure it out themselves. You know, ask Tamatha, why is it annoying that you always have to be the grown-ups in the room? It's kind of what you're saying. Why is it that we have to be the grown-ups in the room?
Politicians see the type of comments that are underneath their posts.
Mm-hmm.
Well, somebody in their team must see the comments that are underneath their posts. And I look, like, it gets worse the further right you go. Right? National, yucky. Act, fucking hell. New Zealand first, Jesus Christ. Like, it's so toxic. And at no point do we see someone from their social media team or someone posting under the account of the leader or whatever come in and go, guys, what the fuck is going on? Like, sure, you don't have to like the other team. You can disagree with their policies. You can strongly disagree with the vision that they have for New Zealand. But this sort of talk is not on.
Yeah.
Now, they don't do that. They also don't encourage it, but they allow it to happen. And I would like Winston to have a look at himself, which he won't.
No,
and I'd like everybody that's been involved in this shit show to go, did I make this worse or better? Does this make me a better politician? Does this help me represent my constituents better? Or am I playing a game that makes things actively worse for everybody?
Let's
do better.
Let's have a look at some of the super chats, because there's been people there for 2 stories, and we apologize if it's been over an hour since we've mentioned one of these. Appreciate Kiwi Bird PSA. Benjamin uses they them pronouns. Yep, I try to catch myself. And it's not that I obviously, it's just you get into a patter, don't you? My brain works faster than my mouth. As long as it's done my way, I'm open-minded, says the danger of mouse. Arvid says, David Seymour said they ran away. Basically, David Seymour is disgusting. Late fee. Kiwi Bird says, the right loves shifting the goalposts for fun. Yeah, that's one of my favorite gifts now. When you say to someone XYZ, you answer someone's question and then they go, yeah, but and they move it. I just put the gif up of these guys from the UK carrying soccer goals from one side of the field to the other. It's quite a beautiful little one. Danger of mouse. It's so sad that some, the right, can't let people be people. Kai Mātara. If they react this badly at Bussy Galore, the media would have an aneurysm when they find out that there is an airline skier literally named Fanny Schmeller. That very famous clip off the show. I was also thinking, I mean, I'm not saying we're going to go looking for this, but you know how when you're a certain age, they talk about BDE, big dick energy. Like if there was a male MP and there was a photo from his younger days amongst 10 other photos of, you know, him in his newly married relationship and at the beach, and he's looking all buff and stuff, and he's like, oh, BDE, and he's holding his kid, would anyone give a shit? Would anyone give a shit? I suspect not. So, you know, maybe we can look through Winston's. Maybe he's got some BDE images as he goes through. Maybe. Peter says one of the very first lessons of the internet I had in 1997 was don't believe everything you see. But Gen Z got TikTok and the boomers got Facebook. Yeah. 100%. Tamatha Paul says Kaimatada. Arvid's is Timu Wolverine. What were we talking about then? Just 10 minutes ago. Oh no, half an hour ago. David says cowardly Reese is at the find out stage of fuck around.
Love that graph.
Tiffany says I see of right-wing sock accounts daily. No shock, a lot of right-wing accounts. Kiwi, the platform is a radioactive waste. Do not click. Oakley, thank you for the super chat. It's very generous. An accessory after the fact to an offence is one who, knowing a person to have been a party, not to the offence, receives comforts or assists that person or tampers with, actively suppresses any evidence. Okay, so not 100%. Thank you for that, by the way, Oakley. Gareth, last super chat. All these right-wing parties should look at their comments and think, are we the baddies? Yeah, this is what we used to say about people like Posey Parker, who would say, I disavow Nazis. I disavow Nazis. Literal Nazis turned up to Melbourne. I disavow them. It's like, yeah, but what about stopping and saying, what is it about my message that attracts Nazis to come to it? You know, that's a pretty big question to be asked as well. So I hear you. All right, this last video clip's 49 seconds, so this probably won't take us long, Drew, to wrap up with. But this is on One News tonight. This is Hamish Campbell and some comments from the Prime Minister today, finding out about Hamish Campbell's religious cult, his little sect he's a part of.
Campbell didn't show up at Parliament today after One News questioned him yesterday about the police inquiries into the group, which has no official name. The Island MP saying he has...
He's run away.
He's run away.
Why doesn't he just turn up and answer questions?
David,
all you got to do...
Where's he gone?
Winston, all you got to do is he's just got to turn up and answer questions. Why is he not at Parliament today? It must mean he's guilty of something. Is he guilty of something? Because apparently the rules are if you're away from Parliament, or if you don't stand up and do a media immediately, then you've done something wrong. You know, like Mr. Plunkett, if you delete something, you've done something wrong. So I don't understand. Is he saying, is this the political world saying that he has done something wrong because he's not at Parliament? That's really weird.
The Prime Minister knew MP Hamish Campbell was part of a secretive sect, but hasn't asked him about the alleged historical abuse at the church. Campbell didn't show up at Parliament today after One News questioned him yesterday about the police inquiries into the group, which has no official name. The Island MP saying he has no personal knowledge of the individuals involved. Christopher Luxon says he found out Campbell was in the church through the media and not the party's vetting process.
We have a vetting process, and I'm very,
Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, don't you think that would be a question? What are your affiliations? Do you have any religious, political, what are they? That should be a pretty easy question.
I can't imagine that it's not part of, it's such a basic question, which means that this dude may not have answered it.
Well, maybe he did though. So maybe it's got a little place that says any religious affiliations, and he said NA because that's the name of the church. It's got no name. So maybe he did say, but they didn't realize what it was because there's no name. And so what's the name of your religious organization? I don't have NA, because that's what it is. Maybe that's how he got by.
This is just so silly. This is like, we're forming a club at school, but we can't tell anybody about it.
I'm confident in the process, but I don't know whether we asked explicitly what religion people are, whether they're Catholic or Protestant or have faith or no faith.
The Prime Minister says that people who experience abuse from any organisation should report it to police.
Anyway, look,
right.
We'll be very clear again tonight like we were last night. Mm-hmm. There is no smoke, there is no fire around Hamish Campbell. However, I would just like to challenge Rhys Williams, Annie O'Brien, when you think you might have seen a connection based on squiggles online and based on a father kissing his child, when you connect those dots to want to have an investigation for the child's safety, surely, based on your metrics, you now see someone who's involved with a sect who has a lot of questions around those same sorts of questions. So at the very least, if you're being consistent, you will be asking the question of him like you did of Benjamin. You'll be asking a question of National like you did of the Greens. Surely, because like we're being consistent, we're going, well, there's been no evidence presented on either case. So we'll wait till we see the evidence. You guys didn't do that last time. So I expect, because you're honest actors and consistent, you will now do it again based on, some are saying more of a possibility rather than less, but whatever flimsy connection you want to get up with. I'm actually not interested in Hamish Campbell. I'm not interested in the story. I'm interested in those people who for the past 9 days have been the virtuous saviors of children everywhere, connecting the dots and making sure children are safe. I'm interested in those people, Chewie.
Yeah, because it's performative and it's bullshit.
Yeah.
Look, yeah, I am going to underline this story as well. I think it's a beat up bullshit story.
We don't have any evidence. That's what it is. We don't have any evidence.
There's no evidence. Like, if you come out, it's like, 50 people have been arrested for crimes against children. And it turns out that this national MP was close personal friends with 4 of them. That's a story. That's a fucking story. That isn't what we have here. It's national MP as part of some weird religious sect. And that's not a story because there's a bunch of national MPs that are part of weird Christian sects. I love the fact that this is such a weird group that they feel the need to conceal in a special little secret church of Christians. Like,
it's the symbol formerly known as Christian. I think that's what it is.
You haven't even come up with a cool new weird religion that you feel like you need to keep secret because it's a little bit strange. It's just Christianity that you've tried to make all cool and secret. And we don't have a priest or a leader. We have an overseer. It's so fucking weird. Yeah. But also very dumb, and I think anybody that is trying to chase down the story with like why come back to us when it's juicy. It's not, the story's not done. It's undercooked.
Detective Rogers has just emailed us saying one of those stories that we were going to that we couldn't find because they've been deleted have been archived, and we've got the archive. So I might have a look at that tonight about the Rhys Williams one and see what it's all about, and that'll be about it. All right, teams, what am I doing? Looks like Pat's talking to the fuse box. I was reading an email that had come in, but sure, fine, fuse box, email, all the same thing. That's it for me this week. I'm in a meeting tomorrow night, and Chewie will be with Hemily. And then, of course, Friday night, it's Bright Hearing News. And you will be with Emily and Magenta. And I'll see you on Monday night. Anything you need to leave us with, Chewie? Anything of great import?
I did have thoughts, and now they're gone like a leaf on the wind. Because I keep an open mind.
Very good.
Deep.
Help us settle a debate, whether it be thoughtful or funny, even if we're all creatures of hate. It's a fine line that we're walking together. For better, push aside the temptation to berate. Let's take a note of the corners we stand in. As many points as the hairs on my chinny chin chin. When the news that we're watching is hairy, knowing all the things that we need to be wary of. Like the rich have the hand out for rewards, while the many have to work out what they can afford. And the rest of us ain't paying attention, or maybe have questions we're too worried to mention. Other media is still dwelling on trivial facts, vetting bees from the rice and the mice from the rats, and picking and choosing a war path to run, and linking ourselves with the hill to die. out lies by both Chewie and Pat. With the evil in the world trying to mess with your head, and you're sitting on the couch, you're thinking chivalry's dead. Each night, 2 nights, they're gonna sing you to bed. It's Big Hairy News.
A few super chats came in just in that last minute there, Chewie. Best trusted media in New Zealand, says not Bernadette. Danger of Mouse says, but, it's different when you're on the right. Maybe it's because they think they're always right. Maybe they're just getting confused with the grammatical organizing of their sentences. Mr. Arvis says, did they not say Green's vetting wasn't up to scratch? Yeah, Luxon saying that our vetting's up to scratch, please. Lots of things we could throw at that one, couldn't we? Adam says, sorry for being a top today in the Discord. Oh, yeah, Jake, but I'm sure a bottom for Doyle today. Okay. Lots of codes here. All right, team. I'll see you Monday. Chew will see you tomorrow night. The kids will see you on Friday night. Nala will see you as often as you want to be seen. That's it for me. Hooroo from me, Chewie.
Cheers, fam. Oh, big stretch.